I just see it so much, like almost more so. I'm like, you just gotta
Because
be,
I think
you
we're more
gotta
vocal
be
about it.
the
Like,
the yeah, you got to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin in love, huh? Like, I don't need this and I don't need that, and can't a mother hurt me? Because I'm like, girl, please leave me alone. Delete. Tomato, bye. Get off my phone.
All right. Hey, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm Intisar, but you can call me Zar. We are here with my beautiful husband, Joseph. He's on the road. Tell him where you're at, honey.
The middle of nowhere, New York. Technically, we're in Horsehead, New York, because we play a show here tomorrow. But I mean, yes, it's basically like the desert. Like it's nothing. There's nothing here. There's not even food
Well,
here.
you got an Applebee's.
I'm not trying. That's probably where we're gonna eat tonight because the other
Yeah,
places,
exactly.
nothing
America's
else is
fine
open.
dining.
Yeah.
But we're back. We took a week off. It was my birthday week. So please say happy birthday. Let me say no, I'm kidding.
Right.
Show some love. But it was my birthday week. Took a little bit of a break, went away with my girlfriend. Ended up going to really luxurious resort in Cancun. It was phenomenal. And kind of got a little chocolate up on me. Just a little bit more, you know what I mean? And then we're back. We're back to real life. So yeah, so that's where we are. That's what I've been doing. Okay. So I guess we're here and we're chit-chatting about all things married at first sight. Are you guys ready for this? I feel like this was a you know what, this episode is telling me a lot more about these people's personalities, and I appreciate that.
What you mean?
Like, I feel like this is really a good looking cast, if we can be honest. You know what I mean? And I think for all intents and purposes, a lot of these people are very successful and have really good, have surface wise very good personalities. You know what I mean? And whether it's an extreme, you know, analytical or extreme orderly and organized, is still to me really good personalities. And not that this episode made me feel like it took anything away from that, but I do feel like we're getting a deeper look into why these people are on Married at First Sight.
Yeah, that it's definitely becoming clear. I'm thinking of so many different instances right now.
Yeah,
but it's definitely becoming clear how these people ended up here, and it's just one of those things, like similar to, I guess, what they're feeling as well as contestants on the show. You know, when you meet somebody for the first time, and you just are going on a date, or you just going on a honeymoon or whatever. You just meeting a representative, and now the representatives are leaving, and they getting out of here real quick and fast in a hurry.
Real quick. And the scariest thing I feel like is not only it's the way that representatives link up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't dated in a while, so sometimes I don't realize I forget that stage when you're like just meeting somebody and how you kind of got to be like, you got to be a certain way, even though that's not how you show up all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's even foreign for me when I'm watching it, and I'm just like, this is fake as fuck. And how they don't see it. But when you're operating in this dating space, it's like that's who you are constantly. You're in a constant state of your representative. And so when I'm watching them, and I'm so annoyed at how like everybody's like, no, I'm in love. No, I'm in love. No. And then I'm annoyed by that. But then I realize when you're in those first few stages of dating people, that's how you want to feel. So you almost are forcing your body into your mind into this moment.
I no, I think that's why these people specifically ended up here, because I think most people do not. My coach used to say, you on skates. Like, most people don't date on skates. I've never had an experience where every person I dated, I just was like, oh my God, I'm just so in love with this person. Like, it's perfect. She's perfect. It's the best. Like every, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, to me, this whole idea of like dating on skates is why you guys would even consider signing up for this type of process.
But I think about it as dating. First of all, it is dating on skates. So let me affirm that, because that's exactly what it is, right? But I think what I'm speaking to is leaning in to the space that you're in. Like, I think that your representative kind of takes over and wants to fully, like, because I'm representing a wife and this is what I think wives do, then I'm going to lead
Oh, I
into,
see what you're saying.
oh, we have to be in love and we have to feel like this and we have to.
But to
And
be
that's
honest,
what I'm speaking to, I
but
think.
to be honest, and I think in specifically like the situation with Stasha and Nate, right?
Yeah.
I think that she does that type of thing. I think she does that with anybody in any situation that she's in. She
So
gives
let's
me
dig on
that.
it in no particular order. We're just going to dig on into these couples. We can dig into Sasha and Nate. Um,
But you know what I mean? Like I know what you're saying, but I think somebody like Stasha, I feel like, and every guy she's ever dated, it's been like, well, I mean, tell me you love me. Like, you know, like, is this, tell me how great I am. Are you intimidated by me? Like, how great
it
am
is
I? Am I
very
correct? You know what I mean?
it is very clear that she has not been affirmed.
Yeah.
And it is so fascinating to me because this is how you know, like, we look at these people and they are beautiful women, beautiful people, and they are really dealing with some things and have been met with people who may not give reciprocate the feelings. You know what I mean? I I remember somebody told me, he probably was talking about me, but whatever. He said, but he said, if you see a beautiful woman, I'll show you a man tired of fucking her. And that's what she,
Yes. Yes.
and I don't want to say, I don't want to reduce her to that. So that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to get at is that I think there is something, this act that she's doing, creating this environment where this man has to like constantly prove how he feels about her is not healthy.
It's not
Yeah,
at all.
I don't think it's toxic. I don't think it's toxic.
I
But I
do.
do think I think
Because
if
I
you
think this is what
go to
this is
that,
what's ran people out of her life. You know what I mean? Like
I will
that.
argue it was never, they were never there.
What you mean?
I will argue that, and I told you this, Joe and I was watching this. Oh, and this is going to sound so bad because I could be, I'm almost, I could be wrong, but I have to say this. She just gives me like, you know, I'm with a man who married or in a relationship and he keep telling me he gonna leave her. So it's a constant, I
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
know
yeah.
you love me. I need to know that you're going to do this. I need to know. I need to know because I got to make this decision and that decision and whatever the case may be. When the reality is, when you are just dating, when you are just getting to know each other, you are just vibing.
Mm-hmm.
That's real shit. When he said we've only known each other 3 weeks, I'm so glad he said that out loud because to me, it qualified it. Like, sis, it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that in her mind, I think part of it is like you said, part of it is like the situation of her thinking like, well, this is what we're supposed to do. This is where we're supposed to be because we're married. But I think a larger part of it, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would say maybe 80-20. I would think maybe the 80% of it is her retreating back to her normal self and how she acts in relationships, where she needs this constant affirmation and she needs to know that you're heads over heels of every day, every minute, every, you know, and it's just like that to me is what's running people off, like her just her representative leaving and her just retreating back to what she normally does in relationships.
Or she thinking that that's how you constantly berating somebody into loving you is not going to make them love you.
Yeah, how about that?
And for me, it's like, and you should be afraid if that person does end up loving you because you berated them into loving you.
Yeah, you had to debate them in it. Like she was doing it in the conversation where it was just like
it was like a running theme.
Yeah, it was like conversation after conversation. But then I think there was this one point we were watching and it seemed like they edited it for this dramatic pause to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like she wanted him to say it in a dramatic pause. And then we was just talking about how like, so you, after y'all had this knockdown drag out conversation about it over and over again, you would even like receive him saying that to you in a positive way.
This is at the dinner after is fast forward to later in the episode when they cook dinner with one another. And he did kind of do a dramatic pause, but it could have been edited that way, to your point, babe. Mm-hmm. But it did seem like there was a pregnant pause. And then he said, like, look, like I'm going to
like you. There.
Right. I like you. Because apparently you need to be affirmed. Okay. Yeah. But I'm going to say this. Where I do push back on Nate is that, and not, I don't know if I would normally push back on this, but just seeing how she reacted to the 4 out of 10, maybe he shouldn't have given it that kind of grade. I'll give her that. Maybe he should have just said, like, I'm working on it one step at a time. But I can't argue that she wouldn't have pushed him into saying on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, because I feel like initially he said, like, I'm moving towards the middle. Yeah. I'm almost certain that's what I'm almost certain he didn't come out with like, well, you're a 4. Like, I think that's his initial words were like, I'm moving towards that, because she was like, I'm closer to love or something. And he said, I'm moving towards the middle. And then somehow we ended up in this numbers game. But she, like you said, she strikes me as the type who just is going to push until she hears what she wants to hear. And that's really where it was going to get there anyway.
Amazing, right? For some things, to have that kind of tenacity is a good thing. But I think when you're dealing with men, and really what I admire about him is that he did not fold. Some people would fold in those situations. Yeah. Okay, Alexis. Yeah. You knew damn well you didn't love that man.
Right. And you said it anyway.
Okay. So that says a lot about you. Some people do not fold. And the fact that he just was sitting there like, no, like I can't give you that. And that's not how I feel. To me, it's going to make it, when he does say it, mean worlds more.
Yeah. But also it's kind of souring the process, because it's like, I'm also not telling you that I'm not committed to the process and that I'm not, like, you know, open to getting there and open to experiencing how it is. Like, she said something in the after party that tried to make it seem like he was on some bullshit. Like when he said it was something to the effect of,
don't get me started on the after party.
Yeah, which a lot of people, I felt like all of them, anybody who watched the after party this episode, like, there was a lot of bullshitting going on in the after party, and I was really disappointed with everybody there, including Keisha Knight. As much as I love her, I was disappointed in her and how she even hosted it. But it was Stasha basically making it seem like Nate was on some bullshit the whole time, like as if he was like Chris from Chris and Paige,
right?
You know what I mean? And it's like, you're not gonna do this man like that just because he didn't say that he loves you in week 3. Like, this is weird.
It's so weird. And it's like, but you know what though? We create our own monsters. And this is really this is really a sign of that. I feel like sometimes we create, like, I feel like when we were younger, we used to argue so we used to be so volatile, you know what I mean? And just be mean and nasty to one another. But I would argue we created that environment. You know what I mean? It didn't just happen. It was kind of like cultivated. It grew to that, right? And then we in a new space, and we were, you know, one of us had kind of gotten out of that. And then we were still kind of working on how to, like, maybe like, we ain't doing that shit no more. Like, we grown, you know what I mean? Being adults and talking to each other and navigating things. You learn to kind of fix your environment, change your environment. And you want something more healthy and more conducive to the growth and love of 2 people. as opposed to like trying to feed whatever need it is you have so selfishly.
Right.
And I feel like she's still kind of operating from a space where it's like, affirm me, affirm me, affirm me. And it's almost negating his actual feelings in the moment.
Yeah.
You could physically see this man retreating. I could physically see him getting annoyed. You don't think that you would kind of shift, like, all right, I understand where you're coming from. Okay. I'm just telling you, because even I'm on some stuff like he would have gave me a 4 out of 10 3 weeks in, and I'd be like, don't worry about it, because you're gonna be in love soon and move on. It doesn't like move on. Your incessant need to be loved is really something internal, and I think it comes from childhood. I think it comes from every other man you have dated that has not affirmed you, every woman that's been in your space that has not affirmed you. And I just need her to know she's good enough. And if he say that he don't say it, she's good enough.
I would think that even evaluating your relationship like this 3 weeks after knowing somebody by itself is
premature.
A red flag. Like, why are we even having this conversation? I can't imagine meeting somebody and 3 weeks later even asking them, oh, give me how you feel about us, rate me. Well, like, that's weird as hell to me.
So let me stop.
That is weird.
That's not, I'm gonna tell you, the only reason why that's not weird to me is in real world, right? You going home to your house, they going home to their house. In real world, you might see somebody every a lot is every other day.
No. I mean, like, in love specifically. Where are you in us growing in love in 3 weeks? In the real world, that's crazy. That's a red flag to me. In 3 weeks,
right? But I'm saying the circumstances is only a little bit different because you're married, you live in a home with each other. Like, that's the only reason. I just want to account for that. That's all I'm saying.
But I'm saying that with all of that taken into account, 3 weeks is too. Again, like, when you see people who have went through this process successfully, many of those ones through this married at first sight process was not on skates off after 3 weeks. Like, oh my God, like, let's talk about how much you love me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just you drive fast, you crash fast. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where, like, that is a red flag to me in any space that you're in, whether you are married at first sight or whether you dating somebody in the street. Like, after 3 weeks, you shouldn't be berating somebody to figure out how much they love you and where they are. And yeah, like, damn, can I think about it? Can I, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the pressure though is the timeline. Like, you got to think 8 weeks is not a lot of time if 3 is already taken up.
But this is what Lindsay's point was. You shouldn't even be thinking about it as in 8 weeks. You're married.
And that I agree with. It really should. But I think so. First of all, in my brain, I literally was just thinking, if she just took Lindy's approach, they would be further along.
Yep.
You would probably be at the point where he would be feeling that way, right? But
yep.
You're so busy trying to quantify things. But this is why I think, I'm not sure she's an earth sign, but I know she got earth sign in her chart because she is trying to quantify things, and then she's trying to say that he's trying to quantify it. But the reality is, you're the only person who got a timeline. He ain't even talking about it.
He's not even talking about 8 weeks. He's never once mentioned it.
He's not even talking about it, right? So you're quantifying things in your mind because you have a timeline by which. But with one of the things that she said was she kind of was talking in circles the entire show. Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this. But I'm not saying that.
Even in the after party,
it was fascinating. The reality is that you want him to say it because everybody else has said it. Just say that. The truth of the matter is, you're not used to being the last person to get it, and everybody else around you looks like they're thriving in a certain way. So you need to be affirmed based on what you see around you. But the reality is that you're the one getting in your own way. You're creating an environment where he cannot grow in love. You're creating the environment.
But also, I think you hit on something when we was watching it, where it's a little bit of it's a little bit of pretty privilege.
A lot of it.
And she didn't confirm it. Let's say this. We talked about it while we were watching the show, and then we started watching the after party, and she confirmed it in the after party because she said something to the effect of, like, Keisha asked her about it, and she said something to the effect of, like, yeah, I mean, like, the disrespect. She literally said, like Keisha said, posed the question like, so how did you feel when you asked him like where he was, and he said 4, and her response was like, I just felt like the disrespect. Like,
but you know what that sound like to me?
so
And I don't want to
you're having pretty girl problems where this is not that you're used to a certain response, or you used to, somebody falling all over you in the first, 2 hours, and now you feel low key embarrassed a little bit that this man is just like, let's just breathe, let's just take a minute. And she felt a little bit disrespected, especially because she was on TV, because she was acting up in the fucking after party. She was acting up.
I didn't watch the after party. Full disclosure, I was on the phone with Joe while he was watching it, but I wasn't watching. But I, first of all, I said it before. I 100% believe it's pretty privileged, but I'm gonna go a step further. I don't think it's pretty privileged from men. I think it's pretty privileged from women. Oh, girl, you ain't got to put up with that. You too good looking. You too this. You too that. Right? Because women get in your brain. Because when you dealing with a man, men really show up. Men are easy, and I know people say like men are very, very easy. It's like easy to like you can catch the vibe quick, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, yeah, you could be beautiful, but a lot of our expectations are built based on what our girlfriends and the women around us think we're supposed to have. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds weird, but it's like,
no, it don't sound weird at all.
Your mother will tell you like you should not put up with that. Yeah. Or your girlfriends will tell you should not put up with that, right? And then you go in your mind and you think, oh, I shouldn't put up with that. Think about it. This might be a better example. I was watching something, and Gary, I forget, the white comedian, I can't remember his last name, is getting a divorce. And he said, they asked him, well, what happened? He said, well, it wasn't a good marriage. And they were like, well, did you cheat? He said, I will argue that no good marriage gets a divorce because of cheating. And I know y'all gonna hear that and y'all gonna think, cheating is a deal breaker. Cheating is a deal breaker. No. But there's something to that, right? The environment that you're in, a lot of people are more embarrassed by the cheating than they are hurt by the cheating. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when you see these public things, and that's what I'm saying, because it's more what other people are saying about it,
than it is how you feel. And a lot of times your actions in these situations are dictated by other people's opinions of you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm leaving because I'm, you know what I mean? Because if the motherfucker would have cheated or did whatever and nobody found out, you'd have just still been with him.
You would have still been with him. But
because of the embarrassment or whatever. And I think that in this situation, it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of the privilege and the pressure from TV or her women in her life or whatever, and how she's used to men responding to her in the real world. And I think the combination of both is just crazy.
The real tea, if she was used to men responding to her in a way that is positive and affirmed her, hey, that's wouldn't be on Married at First Sight.
That part, she's just acting like
that's just the truth.
She's just acting like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Like you said,
around a bunch of bad bitches who don't think that anything bad should happen to, or bad bitches shouldn't be.
But also, and to your point about her maybe always being second. Also, it could be the result of her being around or having men in her life who would just tell her anything, like you said, they'll just go along with it. You know what I mean? Which could be a part of it too. But I'm almost certain she used to hearing a certain, because when she got into the after party and was acting like how she was acting, I was like, oh, okay. Like it just all started to come together. And I'm like,
men have a funny
this is a mess. Well, that part.
Men have a funny way of humbling. You be thinking you the baddest bitch on earth, and a man will come around and do some shit that really will knock you down to him. It will make you feel lower. Not to say that they, they just do dog shit. That's what I'm saying. And sometimes you think, oh, that would never happen to me. And then you be the main one with stuff happening. And what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of this, she created this environment and then she pestered this man to the point where I was almost like ready to fast forward through the shit. Cause I'm like, even me and how we handle conflict now and how we have our conversation. And admittedly, it might take me and Joe days to solve a problem, right? If it's a deep enough problem, right? But how we just, once it's solved, once we say our piece, we hug it out and we move forward. And I think a big part of this episode was the word understanding. You don't have to agree with
Right.
everything that I say, but you should understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? Or have the space in a room to understand. I don't have to acquiesce to everything you say and do. And I think, she a go-getter. And I think a part of that acquiescing or getting what you want is that she's been able to do that. She's been able to provide for herself, cultivate things for herself. And I get it.
But
But I
this is
think
the
that
conversation that we had a while ago about, like, you might be the CEO in your professional career, but not in your romantic career. And you need to know when to take your hat off and when to put it on. And you could tell that she's trying to close him. You know what I mean? And it's like,
period.
you played yourself because
You got a real
you
me.
kept trying to close and close and close until he snapped on you on that couch and then walked out the room. And then
No,
you
he
had
feel
egg
like,
on your
yes,
face.
man, you got emotion.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
no emotion, he said.
Literally.
Yeah, emotion.
Yeah. Are you happy now? You know what I mean?
Are you not
but it's
entertained?
because
Are you not entertained?
literally. But it's because she also went into it intending to close him. Like she said, when she said, well, I hope he's prepared because I'm going to challenge him. This is what she was
But
talking about.
why do you feel like you got a challenge?
Because she's a salesperson. You understand what I mean?
And my thing is, imagine y'all are in relationships out there, or you're aspiring to be in one, or you just came out of one, whatever the case may be. You know how hard it is to just be.
Right.
To just, we navigate in two different experiences in the world and we come together and sometimes things just happen. And I feel like the way that she is creating it is what is so abhorrent to me. Like, I want to give her grace, but it's like, really, and I know he is, but I feel like he was absolutely right to act the way he did when she stayed up there in front of that young girl.
Yeah.
The doctor, whom I think she a doctor, which I love the group therapy. Let me say that. I love the group therapy. And I even love her approach because she seemed like a runaway, not a runaway girl, but like grounded. The new therapist. I don't remember her name. Y'all bust down and let us know. But I when she sat up there and for her to say, well, I feel alone, I feel this, like all of these large words, that to me was manipulative.
1,000%. And I said it in a moment. It was hella manipulative.
And I know he was sitting there like, bitch.
Yeah.
We just talked about this. I told you how I'm feeling. Even his friend, the episode before, had told her, you have to give him room. He's not even used to women loving him fully. His mother wasn't around, right? So you do got to give these kind of people like a little bit more space. It's not going to be on your time.
But this ain't even about him. This is about anybody. You can't smother anybody like that. He could have had the perfect upbringing and the perfect family, and you would still be dead the fuck wrong for smothering this guy the way you are. It's crazy. It's insane no matter what the situation is.
I would have to agree, honey. So we're going to let them live for a bit because the way Mr. Nate gave her the eyes, like, and you better not say a motherfucking thing else. Yeah. I'm going to shut my mouth on that. Okay. Because he got me too. I was like, oh, all right. Damn. Yeah. We sorry. So let's move on into, do I want to talk about Ben and Morgan? Let's move into Ben and Morgan. I don't care what anybody says. I love Ben. It's week. What are we on? Week 8. Still love him. He still ain't doing nothing wrong to me. And I don't care. They get into the pool. They do the whole mermaid thing or whatever the thing may be.
Which was weird. Like,
do you feel like she's trying to emasculate him? Not to say that being a mermaid is assigned a gender.
I don't know what she's trying to do.
Even she picked the green one and was like, well, you take the pink. It's, to me, I always look at the small things, y'all. I don't know.
But she's constantly fighting him against this bro thing, but she leans into it every chance she gets.
She doesn't touch him. Like, you could see, like, I was watching them throughout the episode. There's almost no physical interaction
at all.
Like, none. And if you want something,
the man was damn near crying, and she's still just like, oh, that's what's up.
Do you know how much that bothers? And not to say that everybody knows how to show up in those moments, so I'm trying to give her grace. But fuck that. If you see your man sitting across from you and he getting worked up, you could be mad at your man. You still gonna be like, all right, let me go get this motherfucker up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he need me right now, kind of thing. Like that's at least that's how
Yeah.
I feel. And I felt like he's talking Ben kind of to me, and I don't know what he's gonna say in the next episode, but I bet y'all it's not that deep. I bet y'all it's not
Oh,
that deep.
I
I
would
bet.
bet too. I would bet too.
I bet y'all it's not that deep. But whatever he see in the next episode, right? Like she's getting all like worked up about, but to see him in these moments be vulnerable and talk about like because sometimes it takes for you to step away and then say, damn, I really like I didn't think about it like that in the moment, but now that I'm looking at it from your perspective, I understand where you're coming from. And I felt like to talk about his father and his bringing to be an overachiever and how he also assigned that to other people. When I mean I get him so deeply and how I do the same thing. Like I think I set expectations for myself that nobody set for me. And then when I don't reach goals that nobody set for me, I'm mad that I didn't reach them, but it was like, who is telling you that you have to have these things or do these? Like,
Yeah.
who told you this? You know what I mean? And then I'm just angry. I'm angry here. I'm angry at Joe. I'm angry at the people around me. I'm angry at everything. When the reality is like, this is stuff that was put on you when you was younger, and now you feel like you have to overproduce and overachieve and do. And I think I get him when he was just like, man, I'm sorry, like I didn't even notice I was doing the same thing somebody had done to me, you know. And for him to show up and say like I got daddy issues too. Do you there's not, let me tell you something, men will literally live in a house with a man who beat his mother up, talk to his mother any old kind of way, don't pay a motherfucking bill, and then say he got mommy issues. Men will literally do that. They won't even assign it to their father. For some odd reason, and I don't understand this. This is something that is so fascinating to me. They will literally have their mother be the custodial parent, see their daddy on the weekends, and say they got mommy issues. It's unbelievable to me. So when he said that, I'm like, this is a big deal, y'all. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, this is huge. And she just was sitting there like, yeah, and motherfucker, we all
Yeah, it was just that was hard to watch because you obviously, you know, he was saying stuff that it's possible he has never said to anybody in a relationship type
let
of
alone on
format,
TV.
let alone on TV. And I just felt like, you know, she's always leaning into this. She's always telling him, well, don't, because she said to him at some point, well, you didn't tell me like I look good. And he said, like, he said it in a joking way. Like, I said you was fly or sick or something like that.
Drippy.
And she was like, I'm not your bro. Like, like at every turn, she throws this, like, I'm not your bro thing. But then she,
he just meeting her with the energy he getting.
Yeah, it's always this, like, she's always giving him this bro energy, this cold shoulder stuff in that moment where he's sharing with her. The date was hella weird. I think it was like their segment opened up and he was talking about how he was excited because she had piped this date up and she told him, you know, she didn't tell him where they was going or what the situation was. And he was excited. And then they walk in to a pool with some mermaid outfits. Like, that was whack. That was so weak to me. Like, I'm over her.
Soon, so you better,
huh?
A merman. You can be a merman soon too.
No, I'm not either.
You wouldn't do that with me?
I would like a mermaid. Why? No, put on a mermaid dress. That's weird. That's so weird.
It's not a dress.
It's like a
Zeus. I mean,
it's a pencil skirt. It's a pencil skirt that can get wet. That's what it is.
Like, but no, it's like fins, like you're a fish.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird.
You're annoying. I don't think that it was. I think that it's weird because it came out of nowhere. It's not like she took him to like a VR thing because she's into video games.
Yeah, or like, it was just that's what I mean.
Personality is this from? You know what I mean?
She talked about, you know, Muay Thai and being a black belt and going kickboxing every weekend. She never said, I like to swim with the mermaid. So, like, you know what I mean? So this, like you said, this wasn't even really a thing of bringing him into her world. It didn't even feel constructive. That's why that's part of why it was so weird. Like it didn't even feel like it was something that was moving them forward. That, you know, it's like, it's one thing to like see your partner in their element, regardless of what their element is. You know what I mean? Like, it's one, like, if are you a swimmer? Like, you know what I mean? It just was random and weird to me. Like, you know what I mean? It
But
just didn't make sense.
that's why it doesn't make sense. Like if I wanted to dress up like Harry Potter, you would do it.
Right, right. That's what I mean. Like like if you took me to a mermaid thing, that would be weird to me too. Like, cause I'm
Yeah,
like, what
'cause
is
I'm not like
happening?
obsessed with mermaids, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. But I do think that so they described their love lives. So he said that he doesn't think he's ever really been in love. He had maybe something budding with a young woman when he was in college, but he was stricken with so much tragedy that year and so much adversity in that year that they kind of grew apart, which to me makes sense. You know what I mean? Especially he's Asian, and it's not like they teach us how to deal with our feelings, any of us, not even just Asian, but any of us. And I think that, so for him to say like we kind of grew apart or whatever the case may be, but he felt like that might have been the one that got away.
Mm-hmm.
That was also like, but then so prior to that, she talks about being in love and how she was just previously in love and she felt like it was just like the wrong timing or something like that, and that this person was like, and I think he asked her like, well, how did you know, kind of thing, and she was like, he just used to tell me like, I'll fight anybody for you, like I don't care, like I'll
Can I
fight.
just say this? I don't mean to interrupt you, but that whole shit was just cap, cap, cap. I think
I
she's
don't
a
give up.
liar. I think she's a liar, and I think she sat there and tried to um
Cat.
really, really just, you know, dramatize whatever this relationship was, because she strikes me as the type that she gonna sit there, especially on camera, and everything. Oh, he was so perfect, and everything was so perfect, and it was
Why
just
y'all
the
ain't together then? Why y'all
nothing about it felt authentic. Nothing about it.
nothing?
Nothing about it.
It didn't feel authentic, let's be honest. It really, really fucked it, and I thought it was like bullshit. Like the whole time I'm like, I felt the same way, Joe. It's not even funny. I'm like, first of all, who was this drop dead Fred ass motherfucker you talking about? This
Not
man
drop
don't,
dead fruit.
he don't even exist.
Yeah, what's his name? Spell it. Where's he from? How old is he?
What's his
Like,
name?
you're lying. That's literally what I felt in my stomach. Like, you're a
Girl, you're
liar.
lying. You
You are
don't even look,
lying.
and I mean this. Never mind. I ain't even gonna say what I was thinking. Never mind. What I'm trying to get at is that she is going. There's something very fascinating about her, and you could tell he's trying to open up himself to her. And I feel like she's trying. I don't even know if she's trying to open up or if she's trying to be. It doesn't give open up. It's not giving open up, is what she's doing. Whatever she's doing, it's not giving I'm sharing as equally. It's just
No.
giving like,
It feels like she's producing, and I felt like he was trying his best to go along with it, because even her statement was dumb. Oh, so you knew he was in love with you because he got drunk one day and told you he would fight people? Like, that just sounds like a Friday night in any college town across America. What are you
like
talking about? That was the
literally.
dumbest thing ever. Like, that sounded, the story was so stupid. It was just so stupid. And he was just like really trying to, he like, yeah, you know, that's love. Like, what?
How,
I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? But she kept like pushing the
yeah,
same
she did.
narrative in the story. Like, he was just drunk and he just kept saying he would fight everybody. And I was just like, that's love. Like, what are you talking about? You're
How
a
do you
grown ass
know?
woman.
How do you know I love you?
This goes back to high school.
But I don't want to talk about high school because that
All
don't
right, well
count.
then we don't. It do count. I mean,
All
it
right,
was.
go ahead then.
I mean,
I can't answer it for you, my
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
All right, Stasha, slow down.
you know, like that was funny. I remember feeling because this is when it was the moment for me. Like, you know how people say like you have moments where like you feel like um this is when you knew you wanted to do this for your career. Like, this
Yeah.
is when I knew I wanted to be an actress, or I wanted to do whatever, right? For me, like, that moment happened in high school, because I remember, like, I think when we're younger and we experience certain levels of love at a young age, you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to process it. Like I kind of can relate it to, I was talking to somebody a while ago, and I kind of related it to like being young and coming into a lot of money. Like you need help managing this thing, right? And if you don't, having money is a beautiful thing. We all need it. We need to survive in it, and having an endless amount of it we think can be beautiful, but if you don't know how to manage it, it can really fuck a young child up. That's why we see so many young actors, young child actors that you would think they would have the perfect lives because they have everything. They have access, they have stardom, they have money, but they weren't able to manage it, and they came into it at a time in their life where they really wasn't ready for all of that, right? And I kind of equated young love to the same thing, where like I feel like we experienced love and real love at a very young age, and we didn't know how to handle it. Zar talked about a little earlier how like we used to have like these messy knockdown drag out like arguments and stuff like that. And I think it's just part of it was because we was at the height of relation emotion. Like we was experiencing this real love. And at the time, it was very easy for adults to just be like, oh, y'all just boy crazy. You just boy crazy. You just whipped. You just girl crazy, whatever. And they wouldn't say that now. I think now most, especially the adults in our lives, understood like it was young and experiencing something so powerful like that at a young age. It can go one of two ways, like, you know what I mean? And it can overpower you and you not know how to deal with it. And I felt like you said earlier, we dealt with that in many different ways. And I think in the midst of going through a lot of those things, it still hit me that like I've never experienced love like this in any way, shape, or form, whether it be familiar, whether it be on TV. Like I think we went through a lot of stuff, good and bad. Like it got to the point where I was talking about her to somebody, and this was back then when we were kids, and I cried. You know what I mean? And it just even tapping into that emotion back then was just weird because I'm just like, you know, we kids, we too cool for school. Everything is just like whatever.
And
You know what I
Joe's
mean?
too cool for school. Okay?
That part too. So I remember experiencing that and just being like, I don't even know what this is. Like, this is weird. I remember being with Zar one time. I'll never forget it. We was at her mother's house, and we were by ourselves, and I can't say too much about what was like going on in the moment, but like I just remember feeling like I was having an outer body experience. It was good. It was a good thing. It wasn't an argument or anything like that. But I remember feeling like I was having an outer body experience, and it was another thing of like I broke down or whatever. And I remember just thinking like I can't let this woman out of my sight because this I don't know that this exists in anywhere else in life. And I think that's when it hit me, like when like it hit a young child actress, like this is what I'm gonna do in my career. That's when it hit me like, yeah, this she the one. And this was in high school.
I always feel like I don't know what you do that makes me feel so loved, but I know that like I feel like I feel you so deeply. Like I feel like everything you do makes me feel love, even in upset. You know what I mean? Like even and probably more in upset. Like you know what I mean? Like I probably feel most love because I can tangibly and physically and emotionally feel and see how far we've come. And I know a lot of that is rooted in you wanting to love me the way I want to be loved and you wanting to show up and be the best you for us. And not that you didn't do that before. I I don't think we knew how to manage it.
Yeah, we didn't
You
have
know
the
what I mean?
tools
So
to,
not
yeah,
that you
yeah.
didn't do before, I just don't think we had the tools. And I think that every time you've been given a tool, you've created something new for us. I mean, every single time. If I say anything and I'm like, this needs to change, I don't like it, you find a way to kind of like create something. We evolve again. and then you create a new building or a new this or a new that, and it really gives me faith that like we could do this. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if I can communicate my needs and it's not and now it's not a thing where I'm coming at you, but like, okay, we just our needs have changed. We
Yeah.
handled this, we did it, we achieved it, and now I'm like, we need something, you know. It's been really for me, and I know that's like all about me and how I want to be loved, but I think that when I think about what it means to me, I think it's rooted in a lot of that. I think that you found a way to show up as yourself and do you while still always making space for me. And I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
I think that part of what you said too ties in ironically to what was happening in this episode with that Lindy had mentioned, because you said like even in rough times, and that really hit home for me because I felt the same way as what you just mentioned of like, you know, us having a long past, having a lot of ups and downs. The one thing that always hit home for me, and I said this to somebody during a time when we weren't even speaking, and I said this woman could kill my mother, and I still can't imagine not loving her. And I
That's how
literally
fucked
said
up
it.
is.
But it was a fucked up time. But
Yeah.
but it was I was trying to tell them, like I was trying to get them to understand. Kind of
Like it's
that was an
yeah.
extreme example of what Lindy was saying. Like I've been through ups and downs with this person, and that was even more a telltale sign of my love for this person, because seeing her at her worst and even her seeing me at my worst didn't really ever make me question whether I loved them. I had a question of whether I liked the person, you know what I mean? Whether question, you know what I mean? But it never made me question like whether or not I loved her. And I understood when Lindy was saying that in that moment, I was like, yeah, I get that. Like, you know what I mean? Because you can be with somebody, really like this person, and they could do something and you'd be like, oh, I'm done with this. Like, I'm done. Like, it's over.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for
Which is
sure.
kind of what Miguel was saying, like, is where he's
Well, let's move on into Lindy and Miguel.
at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. And I think that it's funny because I had the same thought. What you're thinking, the conversation around Grace, I thought was a good one. I don't even Lindy was really getting it. Lindy was showing her ass last episode. Let's be honest. We didn't talk to y'all about last episode, but she showed her whole
Oh
entire
yeah, because
ass.
we missed it.
And I didn't like it. And I didn't like how she kind of was trying to manipulate him, because that's what it was. She's used to getting what she's want because she's cute when she got this little doe eyes and everything like that.
And let's be clear, she dipped in her Karen bag. You know, she is a white woman in America.
And she gave us a little bit of that.
She gave us a little bit of that.
And Miguel was absolutely right to feel a way about it. Like, girl, you need to cut this shit out, because this is like just because you didn't get your way, or not even just because you didn't get your way. You have expectations of the relationship, and so do I.
Right.
That's literally what he was saying. Like, okay, you want to be on my insurance? I want you to change your name.
Yeah.
To me, they're equivalent. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. You know what I mean? But where I think that the conversation went to was the Grace conversation. Now, I want to be clear. Miguel had a conversation earlier with a friend of his about the conversation that the friend had with Lindy. The friend is not feeling it. The friend like, this bitch is nuts. The friend is like, this bitch is nuts.
And it was clear.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
She's
nuts. Get out of there, right? And because he kept talking about it. But I like how Miguel was like, it's okay. Be skeptical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's have this open dialogue. Give me a different perspective. Because he was like, well, are your red flags still up? He said, yeah. And then he was like, well, I don't know. Maybe they not. Which to me was also honest. I like her. So she might that, but he doesn't even know in that moment he was operating from a space of grace.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm going to give her grace. We talked about it. I may not agree with what she did, but I understand that she has moments where she may not show up as her best self, right?
But this is what a lot of people do, especially when they have the Twitter fingers and they hit when something will happen on, like, the Real Housewives of whatever the fuck, and they'll say, I would never right?
Oh, I love when people say that.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what people do, because they will say things that to their ear doesn't hit right, but respond a completely different way when they're actually in the situation and not even know that they're doing the very thing that they vowed on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram that they would never, ever do.
But you know what, though? I really want to pause because Joe, all our family call me a not all our family. Joe calls me a contrarian.
No, it's not just me.
It is literally you and Jazz. Y'all the only people call me a contrarian. Because everybody gets me. I am not a contrarian. I do not like being in rooms where people bullshit. So when I say something like, this is such a pause, this is such a major pause, and this is such a tangent, but I'm going on it, okay? Are y'all ready? Buckle the fuck up, because we going. When I say things like, I don't believe men and women can be friends, platonic friends, because somebody has to have interest, physical interest. I said babies like pretty people. So somebody has to see the other person and think, oh, they cute. I could stand to talk to them. That's literally how these things happen. And then everybody in the room will be like, no, that's not true. I got a 100-pound friend. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'll turn around and ask, well, did they ever ask you out? Well, yeah, in the beginning they asked you out. And then I'm sitting there like, but I'm a contrarian because I believe that that's bullshit. It's bullshit when you say like, oh no, it's not that we can't be friends. It's that the origin of the friendship is already tainted if somebody was, you know, attracted, what I mean,
to the other person. Yeah.
So I'm saying all that to say, as a contrarian, when Miguel was talking about grace and everything like that, I was with him 100%. I felt like, you know, but then the problem was that I could absolutely, my higher self agrees with Lindy. My practical self agrees with Miguel that grace is finite. There's going to be a moment.
But let me just step in real quick, because this is where I was lost on Miguel.
Okay.
Miguel kept, it seemed to me, sometimes you hear two people argue and you're thinking you're arguing something that the other person is not necessarily saying to you, right? So I didn't hear, from my perspective, and you can tell me how you took it, and y'all tell us how y'all took it in the comments. I didn't hear that Lindy was saying she has an infinite amount of grace. That's not what I heard from her. For some reason, that's what Miguel heard, and that's what he responded to. What I heard from Lindy was that how do you, a big part of growing in love is loving through faults and loving through
growing pains.
Love that. That's what I heard with Lindy, and I, as a married man, I completely agreed with that. Like, you have to, we don't make it to this point of even walking down the aisle if we don't love through faults, if we don't love through dark times, right? So when Lindy said that and Miguel was pushing back on it, I'm thinking, you ain't gonna make it too far with any relationship if your grace stops at her showing her ass. You understand what I'm saying? That's where it was lost on me.
Let me say this. The way you're seeing it is absolutely, that's how I saw it. And you're absolutely correct. They were talking about two different things. Okay. Yeah. Miguel is trying to let that bitch know, don't show your ass like that again. He's still talking about the shit from last week. That's so you're absolutely right. So when I say that, I'm saying it from a space of where I've been in positions where I've been like, he better never do this shit again. And speaking from a space of grace being finite in that manner. And you talking about, you're right. She talking about the full scope of the marriage. He's still talking about last week's argument.
Yeah.
Because even the way he started it was like, I'm not dealing with nobody crazy. How did we get crazy?
Yeah. He did. He jumped off the deep end like kind of quick. And it was just like, how did this?
He was actually talking about what happened last week.
Yeah.
He just wanted her to know, like, listen, don't think I'm a pushover because even he said that, like, people think that because I'm chill and because I can be understanding, that means that they can continue to act. I'm letting you know, bitch.
It was definitely like
bring
an elephant
shit around here no more.
Yeah, and it's possible that they might have both been trying to address the elephant, but just address the elephant, y'all, because we sit here confused, like, what? That's not what she said. Like, I'm like, what's
I feel
happening?
like right, and it wasn't, and I think that was an accurate like depiction of what happened. They were absolutely talking about two different things, but he needed to drill home, and I think we all do that sometimes. Sometimes we'll be having a conversation, and somebody's having a
Bro,
conversation about one thing, and then you like,
it
yeah,
literally, it
yeah,
just
yeah,
happened the
but
other
I'm
day
talking
to,
about this.
it literally just happened the other day to one of our family members. Like, we have family members who, well, we could say, because I mean, it's public. They do, our brother Jamal and Cherie, they do, like,
Oh yes,
they
yes,
talk
y'all should follow
online. Yeah,
them.
check them out. But they go on live a lot, IG live a lot, and they do like couples,
Yes, the Davises and friends.
yeah, a really good couples conversation. And I hopped on a live once. I wasn't on it, but I got in there. It was on a live, and I was tweeting them, like, I was texting them, like, I think y'all are talking about, so like, they was, but you could tell, like, they was arguing about something that happened at some point, because
Oh, but
it was, yeah. So I was in the comments like,
I be doing that all the time. I be
y'all
like,
saying
Cherie,
something
girl, you doing
different.
a good job.
Yeah, like, y'all saying something different. Y'all arguing about something else. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah,
was
we're gonna
funny.
drop their link so y'all can check them out too.
Yeah,
But in real life, that's what I think it was. And I think, but I'm gonna say this: they gonna do just fine. She is
I think so.
nuts. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's not in a way. I think I think that we all, I was looking at this thing and they said that women are like four different people in a month, right? Because we have all of these hormones. Like I might only be my normal self for 1 week out of the month. You know what I mean? Like you get your like period hormones, your ovulation hormones. Then you don't have new hormones. Like they sucked out your body and then you stabilized again. So it's like you go through four iterations of yourself. And not to say that she's hormonal. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that she obviously has multiple personality disorder.
I was about to say, but right before you went on there, I'm about to say she ain't no more complicated than any other woman that
That's
I've
how I feel.
met.
I
Like,
don't think
she's
she's
fine. Like, yeah,
that complicated.
she threw her little tantrum. What
Yeah,
woman hasn't? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
She's but in
For
this
sure.
moment, she was having she was saying things that seemed like sound advice to me. But like you said, they was talking, they was kind of having a roundabout conversation about, the elephant in the room from
But I
what
feel
happened
like
before.
he started picking up what she was putting down. Like you could tell he looks at her with sheer admiration. And like, okay, I trust, like I feel like he trusts her. Like I feel like he trusts what she says. And
Mhm.
he's just like, okay, even I even love the way he handled his friend when he said, yeah, I just enjoyed it. He was like, yes, continue to be skeptical. This is what her and I talked about. But in a way that's like, I'm still gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do with my woman.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear you,
you can
but she's
give
mine.
your opinion, but yeah,
Yeah, and I think I really do think that they are going to go the distance. I don't care what nobody says. I really do.
I do too.
So let's move on. And did we talk about? Oh, Mitch and Kristen.
They are just
Let me tell y'all something. But y'all should have just seen how I just threw this thing on my desk right now.
they
That's
are a mess.
how.
I just don't even. I don't. This is. I think this pairing. I think this pairing was strictly for TV. It's
I don't
no.
know if this pairing is perfect or
It's not. It's not perfect.
diabolically evil.
It is evil. It is evil, and I'm gonna tell you why it's evil. Because again, Kristen has her faults, but like we was talking about with Lindy, she ain't no different from any other woman that I ever come across with. You
But
know what I
she's
mean?
annoying.
She is, but that's just some people. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
but when we get to Mitch
Oof.
and all of the bullshit that he's spews in her direction and puts her through, I mean, from the shirt to I mean, it's just from to date night. It's just always like some bullshit with him. No matter how much she tries to top his annoying ways, he just one ups her every time. And it's just watching somebody race it's like a race to just how annoying can we be? Like, it's terrible watching them. I'm
It
like
is
terribly annoyed watching them
terrible.
both. Yeah, it's just
It
the
is
worst parent.
terrible watching them. And like the first, oh no, we talked about Morgan and Ben, but Nate and Stasha and Lindy and Miguel, I really do see them if they can figure it out, they can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see it going somewhere. But this let me tell you something. That I watch this and think about all the times I would have cursed Mitch the fuck out. Yeah. And I mean that with all due respect. I literally watch it thinking, oh, I would have completely checked him. Mm-hmm. You don't even, I can't believe that you care as much about the environment that you do and you live the way you do.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
I can't believe that.
You out there cleaning the beaches, but you don't clean your own apartment?
I just can't. And my thing is, one of the most fascinating things to see is and I don't want anybody to be offended about what I'm about to say, but it's always fascinating because I don't mean it maliciously, but it's always fascinating for me to see white people with social justice. It's always extreme. It's never like I moderately feel that we need to clean up the ocean. It's always like this crazy. It's almost like they're atoning.
Like I need to live in the ocean.
Literally, like because you know, and it can get so extra. Because I'm not saying like I love that he has this social thing, and I even love a step further that he took it like the gentrification thing. We used to live in LA. It's terrible. It is absolutely positively terrible how they can drive these prices up. Yeah. Drive the people out of the population out of the community and everything. It's terrible. But the way he's talking, the bitch can't even have dreams.
I know. I mean, that's what the crazy thing is. It's like she can't even run an idea by you.
About it.
She can't even talk to you, broach the idea of something that she thought about in her mind and maybe wants to run it by her husband without getting a lecture on the environment and the economy. And I mean, it's just like, this is exhausting, bro. It's exhausting to watch. So I can't imagine how it is actually living with this person every day. Because mind you, we only getting a snippet of what is actually filmed. We're getting a snippet of the conversations that they have, the stuff that she deals with. We're only getting a very small part of it. So imagine how draining it has to be to live with Mitch. It's just crazy.
It's look, why I say it's terrible. It's terrible. Like I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
Yeah, they got
But my thing is, okay, so two things. When he was cooking and they were just talking about goals and stuff, I didn't necessarily think he was being disrespectful when he was cooking. Because I asked the cook in the house, I do that all the time. I'll ask you a question and then I'll just continue to cook. But I'm listening to
But it wasn't that he was cooking. It was that he was doing like the salt babe thing and everything while she was like talking to him about like something serious. You know what I mean? And he's already kind of like aloof. You know what I mean? So I could see how that would have rubbed her the wrong way.
Yeah, and she is trying to contort herself into a pretzel to be.
I mean, nonstop. She's constantly, and I thought that the one thing that the lady on the after party actually got right. I don't remember her name, but it was the Caucasian lady.
Yeah,
the one thing that she actually got right was when she kind of gave her synopsis of Christian, and she said, "I was nervous that I see her trying to contort herself at every end to make Mitch comfortable to the point where it seems like she's gonna lose herself." And it just seems like she lies, just to be blunt about it. Like Kristen is lying. She's lying to herself. She lying to the camera. Every time somebody asked her, oh, I mean, I couldn't imagine a more perfect pairing. Like Mitch is just like the perfect person.
But she says it all the time.
She says it all the time. And it's like, you're lying.
Even when they were talking about being in love, and she said she's fallen in love, you know, maybe more easily than Mitch. And Mitch said he hasn't been in love and he doesn't know what that looks like necessarily. But she asked, do you think single life or life single is better than life married? He was like, no, I think life married is better. And I thought that was a very good question. But then she went a step further and said, what the fuck did you say? She said, well, I think that this marriage is like, it looks almost just like girl, you've been married 3 weeks, Chad. I will argue, and this sounds so jacked up, I will argue, our visions, and I don't know if you guys have been in long-term relationships or long marriages, your vision on marriage, I would argue, change like every 3 to 6 months. like,
I mean,
like
I
you
would agree.
literally
I
change your mind about it.
I would say your vision on life changes like rapidly. You know what I mean?
So
Like
why
so
wouldn't your vision on
why
marriage?
wouldn't on that change? You know what I mean? It's just like, but to me, to sit up here and to constantly lie in everybody's faces. I mean, you literally in the same episode sat down, told this group of women that
Oh,
you're
the
doing
episode
this.
before.
And that's what I'm saying, not this
Yeah.
episode, but you literally sat down in the same episode, told this whole group of women about how, he made you feel weird and how he, made you feel low because he told you he wasn't attracted to you and blah, 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 blah. And then in the same episode told them it was perfect and I can't believe how much this match is just the match that I could have never imagined. I mean, you just go and you bloviate about all of this bullshit, and it's just like, I don't understand that. I don't understand why you lie so much, Kristen.
But you know what? It makes you think, because I think they all got a little bit of that. Like I would argue all of the girls and even Justin has a little bit of that. Because I don't think the other guys do it. I'm being honest. I think that they really are pragmatic about how they describe their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about how there's this study where the kids, they gave like people Monopoly money, and you were either like a winner of Monopoly money or a loser.
Oh,
You
I
didn't
told you.
decide whether or not you were the winner or the
Yeah, yeah,
loser.
yeah, yeah.
The people decided it, right? And how it changed. They became so competitive and so
They
y'all
attributed them to themselves.
right. I think that's what they all do, because when I hear them all talk about it's like it's too romantic. And I mean this for all, like I tell people all the time, like it ain't a bitch alive who love a man more than I love my husband. And I don't give a fuck. We can go toe to toe on that. And we have been through so many iterations of ourselves, and I can still say, like, I'm still in love with my husband. And I still would never sit in a room with a bitch and be trying to go, oh, well, he did this with me. And then he
Yeah,
did that with me.
yeah.
And then
Like
he did this
it's
with
like
me.
the perfect awards. It's like the battle of like the perfect relationship. But they'll do this on week 2, and it's like, y'all do know all of y'all just met yesterday.
Y'all know what I say about my husband? I be like, people be like, oh
She'd
my
be
God.
like, oh, he all right. She's second
Literally, I be like, he okay. He is
every time.
okay. How y'all, the only motherfucker who could grade my husband as a husband is me. Y'all, it's so amazing to me how people outside of your relationship can be like, oh my God, girl, you got such a good husband. How the fuck do you know?
People do that all the time. That's why I be telling people stop doing that relationship shit. Y'all don't know
It's
Beyonce
weird.
and Jay-Z. Y'all don't know that Jay-Z is the perfect husband and Beyonce is the perfect wife. Y'all do not know this. So mind y'all fucking
Beyonce sitting
business.
somewhere like, he okay.
Y'all mind y'all business.
Hey, you know what I mean? And it's not even that. Like, I think you share, don't get me wrong, and I share, but I don't share from a space of feeling like my relationship got to be the most perfect, because I don't, and I think that it's something competitive here, and I think that should
Yeah.
be a part of the experiment. Why do y'all feel the need to? Why y'all feel like y'all in a race to get to the end of
Yeah,
that
because the
thing?
one thing that I think that they did for TV purposes was, as time goes on, I think they integrated the couples with each other a lot more than they did when this show first started.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't even think they were living in the same building when this show first started.
no, they
All the
weren't.
couples, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they
Hanging
weren't.
out together, going on the honeymoon together. And so now they've created this little real world house. And I think that little competition thing comes in now more than ever. And people get around these other couples and they just lie their faces off. And it
Mm-hmm.
just is crazy to me, because also you lied to the camera. Like, we don't watch y'all and see that you just told somebody else that you are having a hard time adjusting to this man, especially because you feel like he's one way one day and the next way the other day, and all of this other stuff. It's just fascinating.
Let's get into let's get into this t-shirt shit. This bothered me. This to me was such a massive red flag. And I don't even
Of
like to
many
call
red
things.
flags
I
with
don't
Nick.
I say red flag, but I use that term very sparingly, because it's like anything could be a red flag to anybody, right? But I think universally, this is something that should give somebody pause. Like if I buy you anything that's not, a plastic straws, a case of straws or something like that, you know what I mean? You should just be grateful. The idea that she did that, even if it was to be a joke, but the idea that she bought you any fucking thing and you wasn't grateful is so beyond me.
To me, it goes beyond him even not being grateful. It was his reaction. Like he was low key like offended. He was pissed. They went in the bathroom and he literally snapped on her. Like, I'm not wearing that. That's not me. Then he went to the third person. Mitch doesn't wear stuff like that. And I'm like, this person is abhorrent. This is a terrible
He's
person.
terrible.
They should have never paired Mitch with anybody, y'all. Like, there's nobody that they should have paired Mitch with. Mitch should have walked in, they should have went down the paper, checked all these boxes and said, thank you, have a nice day, and went on with somebody else. Because this is many flaws that as Christian has. She does not deserve this. She does not deserve to put up with this, to put up with this man, to put up with all his bullshit, his temper tantrum. He threw the temper tantrum on day one at the wedding, to the makeup people or whoever that was. Literally. And then he went and did it again over a t-shirt. She bought him a t-shirt. Even after she goes, first of all, I thought that the t-shirt thing that
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was the best prank that I've ever seen them pull on Married at First Sight. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was super funny. And it really,
was like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah. It was yeah. I thought it was like the best thing that they did. I thought it was adorable. I would have got such a kick out of it. But the fact that he ruined it, I mean, just completely ruined the vibe and the moment of it for her and also for everybody else when he just had to make it a thing. And then on top of that, even after she tells you in the bathroom, yeah, all right, I bought you the shirt because, she gives you the whole story. You still snap. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm tired of you going to this deep rooted childhood trauma of like, people always tell me what to do. And I just hate being told what to do. You're a white man in America. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? This is offensive for me to even listen to. What are you talking about?
This is where I think I was going with the social justice.
You so fucking oppressed.
I think that's where I was going with this. They take up the social justice issue to feel a bit of oppression.
Like what?
That's what I was going at. Like, and that might be
who got it better than you?
Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Like, who? I don't want to be controlled. Who is less controlled? Who has 40-year-old white men in America?
In America, what are you talking about, bro? Who has it better than you? What do you mean?
And my thing is, but imagine not even have 1 ounce of go along to get along in you.
With your wife. That's how you know you ain't built to be no husband. You don't want to wear a t-shirt that your wife bought you. You're going to have to suck up and do a lot worse things than wear a goddamn t-shirt. He not ready for this. He's not ready for this at all.
He not ready for this?
He's not ready for this.
Even watching him talk, but she just be like, but the fact that she had to tell him, it just was terrible. It was sad.
It was sad. And I don't.
And everybody else just like, oh yeah, this fit me so nice.
Everybody is like, this is lit. You said, oh, I'm like, what? Let me tell you, and I dig it because every time I might buy me something, I'm on the same tip. Like, where you get this from?
I just be buying stuff
all the time randomly, and I can't wait to put it on. Like, just the idea that, like, what?
Yeah,
that you would go to the point of even like having an argument with her, like feeling offended that she bought you this. Even after she told you, like, this is a situation, like, it was supposed to be a joke, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and then you putting it on and then taking it off and then saying, well, I just took it off because I'm not going to be controlled by the man. Who's the man? You are the man. Your ancestors are the man. They're the men, all of them. What are you talking about?
If you ain't, if it's one motherfucker in your life that should have some sort of control, it's not your wife.
That's why he ain't ready for this. He's not ready for this.
Because is a t-shirt. If I tell you to put it the fuck on, how is this an argument?
We talking about a t-shirt, so I can't imagine them having real marital, like, You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna make
Well,
it.
she can't even have dreams, so we know.
Well, that part.
She
Yeah.
can't even dream, like conceptualize it in her mind.
Nah, she
Like,
can't. She can't.
all right, let's get into the frauds real quick, and then we can get out of these people here because we just been chit chatting. Me and my husband just been chit chatting. All right, let's talk about Alexis and Justin. The only thing that white woman, and we only calling her white woman because she is actual white woman she was on the show, the after party, got right with that. She said, I don't think y'all gonna make it.
She sure
That
did.
was the most honest thing she said the whole time.
The most honest thing she said the whole time. Outside of what she said about Kristen contorting herself into a pretzel. That was it.
That was it, because she was a little afraid of Stasha. But
she was definitely
my
afraid.
thing is, when she said, I don't think y'all gonna make it, let me tell y'all, Alexis do not like this man. I don't give a fuck how many babe, boos, honeys y'all call each other. It just don't.
Nah.
Okay, let me say this, and you tell me what you think. I'm sending this to you because I'm not going to say these people's name. But we know a couple who was previously a couple who I told you she is not into him. And you said, no. She into him. You know, they always hanging out. They always doing this. They always Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, yeah.
Right? That's Alexis.
I think that, I mean,
y'all don't get it, and I'm sorry that it's an inside joke, y'all. Or it's not an inside joke, but it's an insider. But
I am gonna go with you on the fact that I don't think, which I kind of alluded to this in the beginning when I said, in the very beginning, if y'all remember, I said Alexis gives me the way that she's treating Justin is how she treats any man that shows up in her face. You know what I mean? Like, we all know that girl who's like bubbly and very personal, and she flirt with everybody, girl or guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's Alexis. You know what I mean? And I felt like that from the very beginning. And I feel even more so like that now. Like, she's committed to the process. And she even said to Justin, when Justin said, like, you know, if we were dating, do you think you would still be here? And she said, no, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So she's committed to the process, and she's seeing
I would have lied. If you liked them, you would have lied.
She committed to the process, and she's seeing it through. And I think that that's where they are. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Like, I don't think she is into him. He
almost killed her dog.
She came across him before.
Yeah.
And let that ride. You know what I mean? So to me, it was just like, that kind of was the story right there. You know what I mean? We seen that happen, like I said, in last season. So
what you mean?
We saw a whole couple date each other before, and then it fizzled away, and then they got married. It was I can't remember their names, the Asian couple.
Well, they didn't date, but they had known of each other.
She said they dated. She said they went out
never
or
dated.
Like that.
They went out one time.
Yeah, so they dated.
He never.
Yeah. That to me is like you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that I would have there's no way I would have come across my wife, talked to her for like a day, and then never talk to her again. And then like, if it's there, like, you're not just gonna, you know what I mean? To me, that was a sign. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll go there with you. Now, this was kind of hard to watch because I almost felt like every conversation Justin and Alexis had, anything he said, she was saying the opposite. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't.
But I felt like, and I didn't think she was trying to start a fight as much as she was trying to show how different they were. You know what I mean? Even though I don't believe some of the things she believed she was saying.
She did seem very combative in that. Now I know what you're talking about. She did seem, very combative in the fact that, like, he wasn't. You ever feel like somebody trying to debate you and you're not?
Yes.
To debate, like, you know what I mean?
So they're on the picnic. Are you talking about the picnic scene?
Yes. Yeah. And it felt like that, where like they're talking and she's talking about how they're different people and how, like, you know, I think he had asked her about, like, you know, would you still be around if we were just dating? And she said no. But then she was like, you just wouldn't understand because it's not. And he's just like, okay. But she's like going hard in the defense, like, you know what I mean? In the offense.
Let me tell you what was weird about it to me. because she was talking out of both sides of her mouth. It was like, you wouldn't understand. And then it was like, I just need you to understand me.
Yeah.
She literally said both. I don't know if y'all peeped that. Go
Yeah.
back and listen.
It happened.
She literally said in the same scene, she said, you're not going to understand because
you
that's
just
just,
got a different personality
but I
and that's
just
just
need you
what you
to
do.
understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she did. That happened.
I was literally sitting there like, this man has got to be like, what the fuck is going on?
I
Like,
know.
but my
That's what I
thing
was
is,
thinking.
then she brought up the concept of falling out of love, which earlier in the episode, they're sitting down and he was like, well, why don't you tell me how much you love me? She was like, I don't want to do that right now.
Which
And
I was not ready for, and neither was he.
I was ready for it. I was ready for it because y'all so fast. Everybody's running and chasing and trying to get to the motherfucking finish line that is the 8 weeks as like the most in love couple.
Oh my
Y'all so
God.
everybody's running like a horse with no blinders. Horses can't run races like that. They get distracted. You're distracted. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you was too busy focused on you, you would have never even said that to him. And you would have slowed him down. Like, hold on. You would have hit him with an 8, being authentic to yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what is authentic to you is that you need mother jumpers to feel that way about you, and then you're a fuck boy. So then you'll say whatever they say because it's just, I guess that's what we're doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all she was doing, as opposed to being authentic to herself and saying, I'm not even 100%.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Like, it's okay to feel that way. But I thought, like, everything he said, the man wasn't even being combative.
The man said, I think that water is wet. And she was just like, what do you mean by that? Like, I don't understand. Like, he's like, I didn't say anything crazy. He wasn't even pushing back on what she was saying. Like, he was just like, okay. And she just was going hard in the direction of like, you just wouldn't understand. Like, I know you wouldn't understand, but we just different people. And that's why you wouldn't understand. I don't even know if he got a word in
He
to
was,
even like,
he was just in there like,
yeah.
Okay.
But that's how you know she's kind of like, the representatives are leaving, like I said, and I think you're going to see less and less of the go along to get along Alexis that we saw in the beginning, where it was just like, oh, I love you too. Yeah, we in this together, but I'm so in love. I can't believe I'm so in love. Yeah, I think you're going to see less and less of that because it takes too much effort to keep that representative going forever.
It's just really annoying to watch though, because it's like, I hate to be affirmed. I hate to know. That's funny. Me and Cynthia was just talking about this today. Shout out to Cynthia. I hate when I think something and then somebody affirms it. Then I'm sitting there like, now here I am, right again. Just like when I'm a contrarian, but y'all out here loving the crew. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be affirmed because then it's like, girl, we knew you wasn't checking for that man. And nobody was upset about that. Like, because why? It was week 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for you now, it looks different when you're acting this way because we like, but you had all those feelings just the other day.
Yeah. For you to even say, oh, I don't believe in falling out of love.
But like, then not tell them you love them. So you're picking it, talking out of, so you're picking up what I'm
talking out of, but yeah, like you're contradicting yourself, sis. Like you went along with it a week ago or 2 weeks ago and say, oh, I love you too, and woody woody whoop, and now this is where we at. I'm making a choice. We in love, woody whoop whoop. And now he asked you, well, what about falling out of love? Do you believe it? And you, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like you
literally don't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand it. And I'm like, does she even know? It's funny because I really do believe that these people, I think it's natural going through a process like this, being on television, producing yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't going to say this. I'm going to say this. I ain't going to do that. I think that's natural. I don't even think I think she's so used to doing shit. Like, I don't even think she know. This is going to be so good for her to watch herself back and to see how confusing she is. Because she literally says one thing, does another, like, fights about one thing, then explains it differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, how can anybody follow this?
Yeah. I don't have that much confidence that she is gonna even be able to evaluate it like that.
Damn. You don't think? I think she got she.
I don't, because when it comes to Justin in this situation, she doesn't look at it with the same objectivity.
Mm. Well, he did. I ain't gonna lie, and I want to give her some grace because he did. Now, if that dog would have showed up and that dog wouldn't have been, child, it would have been what my sister say, smoke in the city. It'd have been smoke in the city. Okay, so I'm picking up what she putting down. Don't get me wrong, because that's her baby. And you ain't tell me something about my baby, there's a problem. Like, we got a disconnect here. But don't suck your teeth. People really
Yeah,
feel
because
that way
I'm
about
just,
their baby.
yeah, I get it. But y'all out here breaking up with people over y'all dogs is going to keep y'all single forever.
You
Because
be
let's
breaking
be,
up with people about their dogs too.
huh? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Whatever, I know your tea. Let me say now.
I don't have a dog. And if I did have a dog,
No,
I
I
would.
said not about your dog. I said you be breaking up with people about their dog too.
No, 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 no. I would never let no feline come. Like, if I really wanted to be with somebody, like this whole, I like, okay, like work on whatever your issues is. If your issue is communicating and you feel like he doesn't communicate enough, let's work on that. But don't get in this space where it's like, well, I would have left you when, when your dog bit my dog. Like, what? That's crazy,
Right,
y'all. Like, that's
right.
crazy.
Because these are dogs. They're also
Yeah.
animals.
Like, what are you talking about?
But the point she's trying to make is that by saying that I never liked you anyway. If it was that easy, you never really
Essentially,
liked it.
yeah.
But
Essentially.
but then she said, like you said, she had the conversation about falling in love, being in love, not being in love. And he says, yeah, I think you could fall out of love, which I absolutely think if you can fall into it, if that's what we're calling it, you could fall out of it.
But I think that this is two different conversations again, because
Mm.
I agree that you can fall out of love. I don't think, to what she said, which I think, like I said, two different conversations. I don't think that if you truly love somebody, you stop loving them. I think if you stop loving somebody, you never love them. You can
So
definitely,
do you still love the people that you used to be in love with?
I believe that you can absolutely fall out of love, right?
Right.
You can be in, you can be,
But you can still love them.
but you can still love them. Yes.
That's
And
what I'm asking.
no, you said, are you still in love?
No, I said, do you still love the people that you were in love with?
I think if you love somebody, if you say that you love somebody, just love, just not being in love with them. I think to have love for somebody, I think you should always have love for them. I don't think you
So
will always.
I feel the same way. Like I feel the same way. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't think that you would be in love with. I'm not in love with anybody but you. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Do
Well,
I
no,
have
right.
do Yeah, so but do I have love for people who I've loved in the past? Yeah, like
Yeah.
I have love for friends, like male friends who I don't rock with anymore, but
Yeah.
because I love them as my homie, I love them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but that's why I think they were having two different conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Because I think he was talking about being in love, and I think she was talking about love, period. Like, do I still love this person? If I love this person once, then it's not
Ah, okay.
real. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. I do understand what you're saying. He's speaking from a place of being in love.
Yeah,
And she's just speaking about love. Like
yeah,
if you love them, then you should always love them, kind
yeah.
of thing. Okay, no, 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 no. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I just felt like when they got up there with the therapist and whoo child. It kind of it's funny how you could fake things around, fake things to yourself, and then you get around like anybody who could read you, like a therapist, and then
Yeah,
shit start crumbling.
right.
Then it's she don't know me like that.
Yeah, what was going on? Like, that was so awkward. I wanted to leave the room. Like,
But Lindy's face the whole time, y'all.
but it was Ben's face too. But it was because Ben was like, it was they was catching Ben. They called Lindy. I
Lindy
mean, it
did
was so awkward. But even Alexa's face was getting it for me. Like, he was just talking to Alexis over here, like,
because he was kind of just talk. I don't know. I think that
He was
people
in
be
circles. He was in
he
circles.
was trying to justify. Some people just don't see their trauma as trauma. And that's just what it is. It's just trauma. You know what I mean? Like we try to contort it, make it
Yeah.
something else, and oh well, now it fuels me and it's my energy to move on. You know what I mean? But the reality is that it's just trauma. Like,
Yeah. And
and you're making
you
decisions
have to
based on it.
acknowledge it to be over it. You can't be over it if you don't acknowledge it.
You have to go through it. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, you have to be upset. You have to grieve it. You have to, come to terms with it. Like, and then you can move on, kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
felt like
You cannot be through something that you don't even acknowledge existed, is what I'm saying. Like
a thousand
Justin
percent.
doesn't even acknowledge it.
He
Like
like,
he's just
I'm
like,
good.
no.
I got on like a bulletproof vest, and everybody's
Like, no, bro.
it just was really the problem is that I know that Justin is a good guy. Like I can tell. And he really wants
Yes.
to be a good guy.
And Justin will be, let me tell you, Justin, I'm very unlike Mitch. Justin will be a good husband to somebody one day.
Somebody
it's
who
not
likes
gonna be
him.
Alexis, though. Yeah, it's just
Somebody
not
who
gonna be
likes him.
Alexis. Yeah.
And I think that, because I think for the most part, he's not doing a terrible job. Like, don't get me wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think he's doing a terrible job. I just think that unconsciously she had her mind made up day one. And I don't and I could be wrong. And this could be the other black couple from New Orleans whose name I cannot remember. Karen and I forget his name. It could be that. And Miles, and they end up being madly in love or whatever the case may be. But I just felt like that moment was like, okay. But when she said even when she said I just need, what I like that the therapist affirmed, and this brings us full circle back to the shit earlier that Alexa was talking about, I don't need you to understand me. You would never understand. And then I need you to understand me. And then the therapist said, no, you do need to understand your spouse.
Right. Yeah.
You do need to understand them. What world? You might not like the mechanism by which I do things, but you have to understand me in order to understand why I do things. You know what I mean?
And in order to get past it, you know what I'm saying? Like Zar asked me a while ago, like, what was I forget how she phrased the question, but it was something to the effect of like, what got you through some of the things that you felt upset with me about? And I said, we had a conversation about X, Y, and Z. And although I didn't agree with it, it made me understand it, and that allowed me to move past it. I still didn't agree. I still to this day don't agree with it, but I understand it. But I said my understanding of it allowed me to move past it, and I don't carry it with me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's all the therapist was saying. Like, you need that, Alexis. Like, you need that.
You need that. Talking about, well, I'm flight or flight. Do that make y'all feel big? Do that, I'm just curious.
I think it make them feel tough. And I think men and women alike, almost more so women, want to feel so tough in love.
Why y'all think that is?
I don't know.
I think men too. I think men, it just shows up differently. I think women shows up.
I said alike. I said it just seems
men
like
show up differently.
It's just, I just see it so much, like almost more so. Like, you just gotta be,
because I think
you gotta be you gotta be the Stone Cold Steve Austin in love, huh? Like, I don't need this and I don't need that, and can a motherfucker hurt me? Because I'm like, girl, please leave me alone. Delete. Tomato, bye. Get off my tongue.
It's like that. You know what though? I think you got something there. Well, we're back. Joda knocked this whole setup down. Do me a favor. If you are new to this channel, subscribe. Okay. Like, comment, let us know you're here. We know we got our faithfuls who come through every single time and tell us how they feeling about this episode. And we want y'all to keep on coming. So Joe is in New York today.
Yeah, New York.
And tomorrow?
Yeah.
Y'all don't play tonight though.
No.
We'll play tomorrow.
I wish we did, because I mean we will be leaving sooner.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Well, just come home.
I am soon. This thing almost over, y'all. So just keep praying.
But yeah, so we are glad you joined us. And it's Virgo season. Shout out to all the Virgos. Happy birthday, babies. And we'll see y'all on the other side. Bye.